I'm going to give you a history lesson.
We got some dumbass motherfuckers floating around this country.
Stop laughing! And when I do, start fucking.
Also, y'all did some nasty-ass jokes on my ass, too.
Funny jokes and unfunny jokes come out of the same birth.
You fucking guys are unbelievable.
Why are you laughing?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Why Are You Laughing, a history of comedy podcast. And today, I'm pleased to introduce you to the breakup of Opie and Anthony. One of my favorite radio shows ever. Grew up listening to these guys. We've already done a couple. We've done Sex for Sam in Jocktober, so you guys could probably already tell that I was a fan of theirs. Even based on our intro, you probably know that I was an Opie and Anthony fan because a lot of the comedians that came through there, I was a fan of, but they have had a ugly breakup, and the legacy of Opie and Anthony is very weird now because of their post O&A fighting and things that have gone down since. But I do find their relationship to be very fascinating and interesting, the way that it was handled over the span of 20 years. They were together for 20 years. And had a complicated relationship. So we're going to dive into it today. I think it should be a good one. But first, I do want to remind you guys to go to blindmike.net, if you'd be so kind. If you like this show, if you like Why Are You Laughing, if you want to check out the Blind Mike Project, you can support those shows for free on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all the places that you get podcasts. Supposedly liking and subscribing and 5-star reviews all help the algorithm. So leave some of those, boost our numbers. And then if you want to, throw a few bucks behind us, join the Patreon. And there's reason to join the Patreon these days because there's bonus episodes of Why Are You Laughing? So if you join the Patreon, join the Gearheads, then you get 2 bonus episodes a month plus mini episodes. I think the next mini episode we're going to do should be next week. We will do, I'll probably review Nate Bargatze's special that comes out on the 31st. But I also want to do a mini episode about Pablo Francisco's meltdown, who I think you said you kind of remembered it, right, Craig?
Yeah, sort of.
He's an impressionist who had a run on like Comedy Central where he was pretty popular. And then kind of went nowhere, as a lot of these guys do, because they don't necessarily have material. They're talented, voice actors, but don't necessarily have great material. And there's a long video of Pablo Francisco on stage having a bizarre meltdown. So I think we're going to break that down on Patreon as well. And I think even this episode might lend itself to like a part 2 or something we'll do on Patreon, because there's so much shit here that I tried to limit it to the basics. But essentially, just a quick, if you're not an Opie and Anthony fan, I hope the true O&A fans enjoy the walk down memory lane. But I also hope some of you guys that aren't familiar with Opie and Anthony are interested in this as well, because I find the relationships of radio guys very interesting, because if you look at really many now Mike and the Mad Dog, the history there is they would go months and months without speaking to each other off air. Now with time apart, they seem kind of like they like, or at least respect each other. Minahan with John Dennis, they didn't speak at all off air. And I always found that fascinating because, like, if you listen on air, you wouldn't really know that. I'm sure you could point to a bunch of examples, but Opie and Anthony are another example of that, where they had great chemistry on air. And other than a few instances, you wouldn't really know that they disliked each other. I think if you go back and listen and scrutinize the audio a little bit, you can tell. But like, as a guy listening to Opie and Anthony, I didn't know if it wasn't for the great grape incident, which we'll get to, wouldn't have really known they had off-air issues,
Yeah, that was when they just were like, you know what, let's do this.
Yeah, that's when everyone kind of had an idea. But let's just get to it. So they met. Opie was a radio guy at WBAB in Long Island. And as he will often tell you, he's been doing it since he was 18. So he was a radio guy since he was in college, whereas Anthony was a tin knocker, as they call them. I think like
Or-
that's like HVAC, right? Basically.
Or as they call him, or he would repeat ad nauseum.
Yes, yeah. He mentioned it once or twice on air, I think. A couple of Long Island guys, but Anthony was a regular working stiff who, wanted to do anything to get out of that life. He just hated that, 9-to-5 manual labor bullshit, and desperately wanted to get out of it. And he's got a good voice. If you listen to him, he was in a band back in the day. Rotgut. I don't know if they ever would have gone anywhere, but where Anthony kind of made his bones was song parodies. He would send these song parodies into a bunch of different radio stations. And the one that caught Opie's attention was Electric Shock OJ, which I probably doesn't hold up if you're not an Opie and Anthony fan, but like I kind of like it.
Yeah.
But it definitely doesn't hold up if you watch the video, by the way.
Rock Gut also would have been canceled long ago. Mike Harris, formerly of this program, I guess, has an original signed copy of one of their albums from them. And it's all of them in blackface on the cover.
Oh, that's what I was referring to. Yeah, if you watch the video, it certainly doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
So Opie brought Anthony and his brother Joe in studio. Anthony and Opie had good chemistry. They were in Long Island for a while. Then they came here to Boston, to the legendary, now debunked WAAF. Boston's, what was their slogan? The only station that really rocks.
That really rocks, yeah.
Which I'm sure there was about 5,000 of those around the country. Obviously, we've talked about this before. They got fired for the mayor's prank. And then they went to WNEW in Long Island. And that's where our story picks up. Because basically, up until their Boston days, they were very good friends. And their wives were friends. And they were up-and-coming radio guys, kind of dreaming about the future. And they got along pretty well. And so that's where we begin. This is from the Unmasked that they did with the great Ron Bennington, where they're looking back. This is, on the 20th anniversary of the Opie and Anthony show. This is them looking back at the past.
But was it just Opie, just your thing, or did you and Ann sit down and talk about it?
I don't know. We weren't really talking much back then.
Is that right?
It's obvious to a lot of people. We've had our ups and downs and stuff, but
That was a weird time where I had just told my wife to go fuck herself, and his girlfriend at the time and my ex-wife were still very good friends. It put us in the weirdest fucking position,
right?
Where he's getting shit in his ear from his girlfriend about my wife, and I'm telling him about the wife, and no one wanted to hear. No one gives a shit.
It seems like two guys that have a pretty good grasp of what the situation was.
Right.
If you listen to that clip, it seems like, hey, but let bygones be bygones. These are two guys that understand that. So basically, you could kind of tell there, it seems like the way they're portraying it is Opie's girl was in his ear being like, oh, Anthony's a scumbag and this and that strained their relationship. It was much more than that, I think. There's a lot there where Anthony is extremely non-confrontational. He will, go along to get along. And at that time, he was happy to be making the money that he was, happy to be in radio and not in construction anymore. So they weren't speaking at all. And they brought in Jim Norton to essentially be a buffer between the two because, it got to be so weird between them that they're like, I think we just need a third guy to break some of this tension that might be there. I don't know if it was evident to the listener at the time, but it certainly was to them, to the point where, they would always bring comedians in, and Opie, to his credit, saw something in Jim Norton. I think that was Opie gets a lot of shit, but I think one of his talents was recognizing guys that were good on the radio. You could argue his later years, that talent may have slipped away in the Vic Henley days. But early on, the comics that came through Opie and Anthony, these are before you knew them. Patrice O'Neill, Louis C.K., Bill Burr, Colin. Oh, you knew who Colin Quinn was, but Colin Quinn, Bobby Kelly, Rich Voss, like a lot of these.
The tough crowd crew, basically.
The tough crowd crew. But then like Jim Jeffries, when he came to America, was on Opie and Anthony a lot. Towards the end of their days, like Dan Soder and Chris DiStefano, like Opie was pretty good at creating this farm system of comedians to kind of come up. And, he saw something in Norton, they brought him in, and then they talk about that a little more here.
But it was a perfect time to bring Jimmy on. That's the only reason I'm bringing this up. It was sort of a way to kind of
buffer, yeah.
Kind of a. I mean,
Like adopting a child when the marriage is going bad.
Yeah.
This will help our marriage. Let's
Yeah.
adopt this kid.
I was writing letters to they're like two fathers, Grandma.
Platoon reference. And by the way, I think that made the radio show a lot better for a couple of reasons. As we'll talk about, I think the relationship of Anthony and Jim Norton is kind of what the show became,
right?
Which is another big part of this split. But I do believe that Jimmy was equal or possibly even more crucial to getting a lot of those comedians in there. I don't know if you don't have Jim Norton, I don't know if Patrice and Bill Burr and these guys are on as often as they were.
Definitely not.
All right. So now we start getting into it a little more. That was all sunshine and roses. That was their, 20th anniversary before Anthony had gotten fired. And, they're celebrating. They're in good spirits there. But now we start to look at some of the ugliness.
Yeah, we got the Bam Margera incident. So
if you're not aware, Bam Margera, who we'll be talking about next week. Next week we're doing Jackass, by the way. But there's some. I had the guy on early on in the Blind Mike project. I had Chauncey Hayden on.
That's right.
And Chauncey Hayden printed this article, and the source was, I believe, former O&A producer Ben Sparks. Ben Sparks got fired, had an axe to grind with Opie, and claimed that he had a sex tape of Bam Margera and Opie's wife, or girlfriend at the time. I think they were just dating when this stuff happened. So Chauncey Hayden prints the article, and Opie took them to court. And to my knowledge, by the way, everyone has said this tape does not exist, other than people on Twitter and Reddit that like giving Opie a hard time. But to my knowledge, this tape truly doesn't exist. And I don't think Lindsay, his wife, had ever even met Bam Margera. So I don't know where this started, really. But Ben Sparks put it out there, and it got to the point where Chauncey Hayden was writing about it. And Chauncey Hayden, I think, wrote for the Daily News at the time. So it wasn't some nothing paper, I don't think. So that gets reported. And Opie, when Opie was in a bad mood, it would take over the room. Like, it would really dictate. Jim Norton always said there were two sides of Opie. Mm-hmm. When Opie was having fun, they were great friends. Everything was great. He was a guy you liked. But when Opie was not having fun, it could derail the show immediately, as we will find out today. And a lot of it was because Opie had a hard time dealing with who he was on the show. Like Anthony does, he would do good impressions. He used to do back in the day. He would make like song parodies and that sort of shit. But even when that stopped, he was a guy who was funny enough, a rare guy in radio who was funny enough to keep up with a lot of the comedians that were in. I don't think Howard Stern necessarily had that muscle.
No.
I think Howard was a funny guy, but I don't think he was as quick or as funny as Anthony was. And you could tell the comedians liked that about Anthony. Opie certainly didn't have that. And, every team kind of has their straight man, if you look at the great comedy duos throughout history. But Opie never accepted that role. He's not a guy with a lot of self-awareness. And, when people on social media, or at the time they had Pal Talk, and they had their online message boards and things like that. And people would write shit about Opie and say, he's just a board op. He just pushes buttons. So there are things where Opie did control the radio show. And I think Opie's talents were knowing what was going to work on radio. Like I just talked about with comedians, I think he had that ability with segments as well. Because like I said, Anthony's very non-confrontational. I don't think Anthony's going to bring someone in to berate them if he doesn't absolutely have to.
Right.
And you see the same thing if you listen to the Jim and Sam show now that Jim Norton hosts. They never have shit like that. They're not calling, they're not fighting on that show or anything. So I think Opie's talent was to know when to cause chaos in the studio.
Well, I was going to say one of his biggest things was if there was even a sniff of it, he would dive headfirst into it and see what happened.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what he was very good at. The other two guys didn't do. Now, you're not going to get a lot of credit for that because a lot of fans might not even notice that it's Opie doing it.
Right.
Because Opie could do that. Opie could notice there's a thread to be pulled there. And then that allows Jimmy and Anthony to take over and be funny.
Right.
So Opie's talents kind of went unnoticed and he became very resentful of that. So it was a mix of things that I think kind of blew up here a little bit during this Bam Margera stuff. This is a longer clip, right? So we may stop it at times.
Yeah, I was also going to say, too, the reason people probably think this is believable, because if you were going to make up a story about like my wife or something, is Bam Margera not the last name you would have come up with?
Johnny Knoxville, at least, if you're going to go with one of the Jackass guys.
Right. Exactly. Or Steve-O or something.
This is the only thing I'm mad at. I mean, you could call me asshole of the week. You could say how like people that used to work for the radio show hate my guts, whatever. Talk all you want about me. I don't give a shit. But what really is pissing me,
you can tell he's in a mood already. Though
I do that, by the way. If I'm sure people have already noticed that all right. Mm-hmm. But if you've never heard Opie and Anthony before, the glass just broke on where that comes from because I do that all the time.
I do that like in real life. Right. It's just very fun to say.
But by the way, you hear a little bit of that right there. Ant's trying to be funny, and this is becoming a very serious thing. Opie's very passionate about it, and Anthony tries to lighten the mood a little bit by saying, maybe people do hate you.
Whatever. Talk all you want about me. I don't give a shit. But what really is pissing me the fuck off is this. He says last week, Paige, do you really want?
I'm just trying to fucking around.
But you know what? Sometimes it's a real moment.
Hold on. Now,
just fucking go.
I'm actually kind of on both sides here in a way.
Definitely.
Where like Opie is furious. He's fucking pissed about this. It's ruining his personal life. This is shit that shouldn't have even come up on air really, because Opie didn't talk about his wife a lot or anything, particularly her name, like personal stuff. Like he might say me and my wife were here, but it wouldn't really get too personal ever. So Opie's in a mood, but Anthony's also Anthony's working,
Yeah.
Anthony's at work and his job is to be on a funny radio show.
Well, it's also a perfect example of how quick he is because he's like, what really pisses me off? He's like, the picture.
I guess it was a bad picture of him or something.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I don't really know where I stand there.
I get both sides.
If you're Opie, I think you kind of have to say you are on a comedy show. Like your balls are going to get busted a little bit. Yeah, like Anthony's on his side. They're not saying that the tape is real or anything,
Yeah, I know, but it's also like the whole, country isn't going, did his wife fuck Bam Margera?
Yeah, I get it being annoying. Put it that way. You know what I mean? There's a lot I'm going to be against Opie in this episode.
This isn't one.
But I do get him being pissed off in this moment.
This he says last week, Paige, do you really want?
I'm just trying to fucking around.
But you know what? Sometimes it's a real moment. Just fucking go with the real moment. You're not going through this fucking bullshit.
Dude, I've been through so much fucking shit involved in this show. Lighten up. I'm trying to fucking keep it light.
I don't want to keep this light.
All right. Do what you want.
There's no reason to keep this light. You know
what you want.
Yell
he's
at
me. Throw headphones at Jimmy. We're the fucking assholes. Fuck this then.
I didn't. First of all, I didn't throw the. I already explained that I didn't throw the head.
You fucking.
I didn't throw the headphones at fucking Jimmy. I explained.
You're fucking dick to us because you're pissed off at this fucking dude.
No, because you're
and we're assholes now.
Hold on one second. So right here this is not about this incident. You know what I mean? Like, if in this moment, like if this was the first time that Opie gave Anthony that sort of attitude, I think Anthony would let it go.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Anthony would have the sense to be like, this guy's in a mood. I'm going to let it slide. I think this was the constant buildup of Opie, making a kind of a cunty face at him or rolling his eyes, that sort of shit. And you can tell that really bothers Anthony because you don't hear him like that on air a lot unless, God forbid, Chicago crime statistics are mentioned or something.
I did enjoy how quickly Opie went from offense to defense there. He's like, this is bull. I didn't mean it.
Well, you're about to hear a very less than manly noise come out of Opie.
A few times.
Explain. Fucking dick to us because you're pissed off at this. No,
because you're
and we're assholes now,
dude. You're uncomfortable in making jokes.
No,
There's not a time for jokes. That's all.
Dopey show.
Well,
That's
it's not
why
fun right now.
I throw in jokes.
It's not fun right now, Anthony.
Info out.
It's not fun. We've talked behind the scenes and what this has done to me and my girl.
I understand. I've been through shit like similar shit. I understand.
It's not
but
fun.
We're not the bad fucking assholes here.
All I'm asking is not to make little jokes. I want to have a moment here. And when I threw the headphones, when I read this, I wasn't throwing them at Jimmy, and I apologized immediately. Didn't I apologize to you immediately? Yeah. I did not throw the headphones at you. I swear to God.
There is, by the way, I don't even know if you can hear it, but there is Jim Norton saying, please don't bring this on me.
Yeah.
Leave me out of this. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Went to hit this fucking thing and they went flying over the thing. And immediately I said I fucking didn't throw the headphones at you. There's a real moment that's going on. I got a girl at home that is this close to a fucking nervous breakdown because she doesn't deserve this shit.
I understand.
Say whatever you want.
Now here's where we get Anthony just got out of a 9-year marriage, I think it was, and as he often talks about. Not a big fan of the wife. The wife was a real... it was quite the, stereotypical sitcom situation going over there. With the wife was a real nag. And you can hear how Anthony, until the divorce, would deal with those situations there. Because right now he's dealing with a nagging cunt a little bit.
I think he also paid a pretty gigantic sum in alimony a month.
He did, and that's what happened when him and Opie got broken up. He stopped making $1 million a year.
That's true.
But you hear him there go, all right, yes, I know.
Yes, dear.
Yes, all right, fine.
Down because she doesn't deserve this shit.
I understand.
Say whatever you want about me. I don't care, but my chick doesn't deserve this shit.
I know.
And what happened was this is a fucking false rumor, a lie that was started a year and a half ago by someone we all know his name, and fucking Chauncey was the one that fed this fucking story to Page 6 and made them believe that this could be possibly true. And now I'm in living fucking hell. Everybody knows in my little circle that it's not true, but there's a lot of people out there still wondering what the fuck is going on with this shit.
Okay, read it and I'll shut the fuck up.
Well, no, I mean, but just don't needle me. That's all I'm asking.
I was trying to add a little levity.
Well, it's funny because when I started talking about this clip, like when we started playing it, it's the first time I ever realized, like, Opie has a legitimate reason to be angry.
Yeah.
Because every other time I've ever listened to it, I've heard, don't needle me.
Yeah. Don't needle me.
Knock it off. Is there any more to that?
That was the end.
Yeah. Don't needle me, Anthony. Yeah. So, I mean, you clearly hear it bubbling up. There's a clip I wanted to find, and I've never been able to. I heard it once years ago. And I don't even really remember the context. But Opie said something kind of passive-aggressive to Anthony, and Anthony just goes, well, you can tell this is going to be a goddamn treat today. Real goddamn treat. and then they kind of move on, but it was a moment of like Anthony being fed up, and I've never been able to find it. So if anyone knows the context of that or where I might be able to find it, let me know. But yeah, there were a few moments like that over the years with these two. But honestly, few and far between, which makes it more amazing, like their chemistry, their ability to do a radio show together and kind of appear to be friends and team up when they needed to. Because one thing they brought up a lot was people trying to use the divide and conquer method. Because when they would go after other radio shows, the usual tactic was to be like, I think Anthony is really funny, but Opie's an asshole. And occasionally they would do that vice versa, but usually that's the way it was. We're like, oh, Anthony's great. Anthony's really talented, but it's Opie that I have a problem with. And they would always point that out. They'd say, oh, you're going to go with the divide and conquer method. Like, we're going to fall for that. And then once they were divided, they were certainly conquered. But that's not for a little while. What are we doing now?
One of my favorites, the grape incident.
Yes, this is the great grape incident that I referred to earlier. So this is the moment that, any, whether you have a degree in therapy or you've even been to one session, you can pretty much break down this half hour of radio and understand the relationship between these two men. So just for the full context, Opie and Anthony for a time were doing basically a simulcast where, in 2004, they signed with XM Radio and they continued to be on XM. But there was a period of time where from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., they were on XM, but also on K-Rock, Howard Stern's old station. And, syndicated to different affiliates around the country. And then in 2009, they lost that. K-Rock fired them. I think because their ratings weren't great. But I also think that was kind of the start of people going away from basically comedy shows on radio.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist at all anymore. And 2009 was kind of the beginning of the decline of that. Stations like that started to move to music or sports talk or political talk.
Cheaper options.
But not even necessarily, because sports talk at the time, those personalities would be expensive. But I think it was more in 2009, people started to get scared. I remember it was not long before they got fired where they read the code of conduct entitled Words Hurt. It's a pamphlet or something that CBS gave them to understand sensitivity to different cultures. And so that was kind of the start of guys like Opie and Anthony being persona non grata on radio, which really, birthed podcasting. But they got fired from K-Rock, and Opie's kind of reading one of the articles about them. I think they had played reaction from like Howard Stern kind of taking a victory lap. So, the morale is not great at O&A on this particular day.
A lot of people.
Grapes.
You want to eat grapes and we'll do this after the break?
No, that's okay.
A lot of people have had.
Why don't you eat yogurt?
Huh? I don't do that anymore.
I know. I
really don't. I realize that it's annoying, so I just like do it on the side.
All right. In 12 years, you could yell at me.
Whatever.
Come on, I'm fucking around. You're in a bad fucking mood.
I told you I
know, but don't let it affect the fucking show. You're in a bad fucking mood.
Has it the last 2 days?
Yes, it has.
No, it hasn't.
You've been in a cranky fucking mood. I understand we've been fired from fucking CBS and shit, but let me tell you something. I'm not the only one that notices. You're in a cranky fucking mood. Everyone's noticed.
Do you want me to start talking about what people notice about you? Leave it alone.
Yeah, tell me. Go ahead.
Leave it alone.
Tell me what people notice about me.
Leave it alone.
I'm not leaving anything alone.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Be honest. What happened?
You had a lot of moments over the last few years. Leave it alone.
That's my favorite thing when they fight is everyone says
this is Opie 101.
Yeah.
Where Anthony says, "Hey, you're in a bad mood." A relatively benign accusation. And Opie says, "Do you want me to tell you what people have noticed about you?" And so it's very vague, But that insinuates that there's something horrible about Anthony that Opie won't say.
I will say, though, that this is one of the few times that Anthony's the one that starts that. Like the I know you are, but what am I fight that they always have.
See, I didn't read it that way. I don't even read it that way. Where Anthony's saying you're in a bad mood.
Right. No, I know.
Anthony's being more direct about what he has a problem with.
But it
reminds me a lot of like there was an incident where Otto from Otto and George comes into the show.
Yeah.
And they're talking about some clip from The View. And Otto goes, Jesus Christ, this is what you guys talk about when Anthony's not here? An obvious joke.
Yeah.
And Opie goes, it's a viral clip, Otto. Like, gets really pissed. And there's moments where, like, Opie's hammering. They essentially called Rich Voss a retard for 15 years.
Right.
And then every once in a while, Voss would, punch back. And he's a very quick, funny guy. Mm-hmm. And he would make fun of, like, Opie's shirt. And Opie would be like, wow, Rich, really? You're going to go there? It's like, go where?
That crew always would make fun of wardrobes.
Yeah, but and Opie would be very sensitive to things like that. So that's like, hey, you're in a bad mood, and now Opie is going to start making some accusations here, where it's like, how did we get here this quickly?
Yeah, my only point was though is when he said you're in a bad mood, and then he goes, and I'm not the only one that's noticed.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
They always drag,
and that's kind of throwing the staff under the bus a little bit too, because now they're gonna have to answer.
And Opie's typically the one that does that. That's why I was like, oh, Anthony actually did it this time.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
This de-escalation.
Leave it alone. I made a joke that for 12 fucking years you rattled your spoon in the yogurt. It was funny. It became a bit with the fucking audience. They understand exactly what the fuck we're talking about.
Leave it alone.
Leave it the fuck alone.
Leave it alone.
Holy shit.
Just because you're really into doing the show again, leave it alone.
Really into doing the show again.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
That's actually kind of funny.
It's funny, but it's passive aggressive. Opie didn't mean to be funny there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Opie's being passive aggressive and a little cunty. And so we went from, hey, you're in a bad mood to you didn't pay attention to the show. You were bad at your job.
Leave it alone.
Holy shit.
Just because you're really into doing the show again, leave it alone. Seriously.
Really into doing the show again, as opposed to when I wasn't into doing the show.
You said people are talking. I mean, if you want to talk about people talking, just leave it alone.
All right, we'll talk about what Chris Oliveira, how he told me how you were a lazy fuck and didn't want to do sponsors.
Okay,
you didn't want to go to sponsor meetings. That was part of the problem. That it was always Opie yelling about how, I won't go to a sponsor meeting. Fuck them. Have them come over here. And the reason Danny Bonaducci is still in Philly is because the guy, apparently, even though he's got shit ratings, works his balls off and goes to every fucking meeting he's told to go to.
We went to every meeting.
We did.
Yeah.
I think I sat in that fucking room a lot more than you did.
No.
What?
No.
What?
I love Anthony. What? He's in shock. But yeah, in a matter of minutes, we went from, hey, don't eat grapes into the microphone. Why are you in a bad mood? To you're a lazy fuck.
And everyone says.
The reason we got fired. So obviously, as I always say, an argument about the dishes that isn't really about the dishes. And, this is something where, again, I think their relationship is, and these arguments are more complicated and nuanced than a lot of fans gave credit, because there is an element of, like, I'm a big Anthony fan, so it's a lot easier for me to overlook Anthony's faults or reasons for this argument from Anthony's side. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, Opie genuinely annoys me, and people that aren't self-aware in general annoy me. And so it's a lot easier for me to be like, oh, it's Opie's fault. But there were times, they made a bit on the show of Anthony missing work because the night before he had gone out on a date with Jill Nicolini. And it was a very funny episode. Like, it was Opie, Jim, and Colin Quinn, and they were busting Anthony's balls for not being there. So it made for good content, but it is like, I guess Opie could look at that and maybe that annoyed him if that wasn't the only incident like that. There's also, again, like Anthony fell asleep on air once. Like he put his head against the microphone and just like dozed off, I guess. And so everyone got up and left the studio and they just filmed him. He woke up and realized he was supposed to be doing an ad read. Again, they made funny content out of it, but I think Opie probably looked at moments like that as things that annoyed him and, unprofessional or whatever. However Opie viewed it, I don't think he liked those moments.
Yeah, he didn't look at it like, was it 20 years? 4 or 5 days a week, 4 hours a day, a couple things happened. He didn't look at it that way.
Well, so that's the prize. Yes, as I'm listing these, I think some people might be like, oh, well, fuck that. That's annoying. I would hate to work with a guy like that. But the problem is, I don't think Anthony was a guy like that. I think he had a few incidents over the years like that. And Opie would exaggerate a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like Opie would take those anthills and build them into gigantic mountains. And the one example that Anthony uses all the time, which I'm so happy he uses this as the example, because I spent a lot of time looking for this clip years ago, not for this episode. But when I was younger, I would always hear Opie reference, they had a beef with Andrew Dice Clay for a while. They ended up patching things up. But during the time they were beefing with him, Opie would always reference Andrew Dice Clay going on the Howard Stern show and Andrew and Howard mocking the death of Opie's father. Opie's dad died in a car accident. And he would always reference, when they would go at Dice, he would always say, like, I'll never forgive him for going into Howard and, shitting on my dad right after he passed. And I looked for that all the time. And I would find Dice appearances around that time and listen to them. And I'm like, where is this clip? I cannot find it. And then, years later, when Anthony talked about it, he goes, yeah, Opie would always reference Dice and Howard shitting on his father. It never happened. It simply didn't happen. They don't know his father. Howard probably didn't know his father died. You know what I mean? Like it didn't happen, but Opie just created that in his mind.
I've always wanted to know why that started in his head.
Yeah, with pathological liars in general, that's what I'm curious about, is like, where does that start? Do they think it happens? Did they completely lie and then now they kind of believe it? Like, I'm always curious about that.
Do they not think they're lying and it just like forms in their head?
Yeah, no, you're right. I'd love to know that, but
they probably saw. They probably said something like his dad died and he didn't listen to before or after that, and he's like, "Well, he's clearly talking about me."
Well, there's another incident like that with Adam Carolla, where he went off on Adam Carolla. Carolla's a fucking scumbag, piece of shit. He said he was in Los Angeles, and I think they had the same agent or someone in common. And Opie went by. I think it might have been while they were still doing Loveline with Adam and Dr. Drew.
Mm-hmm.
And Opie went to the studio, and he said he waved to Adam, and Adam gave a dismissive look. And so Opie was like, fuck you. And he talked about it for years. And then finally, when Anthony went on Carolla's show, Adam was like, hey, can I ask you something? I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I never gave him a dirty look. I don't think I knew who he was.
Well, that was probably it. Is like Opie's bitching about this, but in his head, he's like, yeah, people think they know who I am now.
Yeah. So here's a better way. The, Reader's Digest version of what I'm trying to say here is Anthony is a flawed person, but I believe is more aware of it and is easier to like.
Oh yeah, no,
does that make sense? You know what I mean? Anthony's probably a more flawed, if on paper, probably a more flawed person than Opie.
But he 1,000% is aware of his flaws.
Exactly. Yeah, his foibles, if you will.
His foibles.
Is there any more from the Great Grape incident?
2 more clips actually.
Oh, good.
They kind of blend together, but this is
okay.
Them talking about going separate ways, which is always fun.
Oh, well, this is, again, you know what? I did this by accident. I wish I could just tell you that I'm a great broadcaster who was segueing into this.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that Opie creates in his mind as fact, but let's hear him talk about it first.
Don't worry, dude. This will be over soon. You go your way, I go mine. Trust
See,
me.
that would.
Trust me.
Oh, I could bring up the fact that
Trust
you've
me.
mentioned that 80 fucking times in the past couple of months. Because that people have noticed too. Hey, how come Opie keeps bringing that up?
Because that's really going to happen.
Why?
Because it's just time.
Why is it time?
Because we've done everything.
We've done everything?
Great radio. But it's time maybe to move on to some new challenges.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Well, you brought it up enough times.
I think so.
Perhaps you want to.
So, ever since then, well, not since then, since O&A broke up. So for the last 9 years, almost,
Crazy.
Opie has said, we all knew the show was coming to an end. Anthony wanted to leave and do a political show. I wanted to do my own thing. And Anthony, time and again, has said, that was never in my mind. I never planned on leaving to do a political show. I never mentioned it to anyone. I never had my agent inquire about it. I've never brought up that I wanted to leave and do my own show.
Opie just wanted to be best friends with him. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there, my friend. Don't you worry.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Opie wanted a partner, but a best friend. I think you're right. And he resented that he wasn't that with Anthony. And then would constantly say, hey, let's go our separate ways. Let's do our own thing. And this is a clip where Anthony speaks for the fans.
Doing this, I don't care. I could go do something else.
No, you couldn't.
I certainly could.
I didn't realize we got there that fast. So yeah, I mean, the criticism was always of Opie was always like, without Anthony and Jimmy, you couldn't do a show. and almost to a fault, Anthony and Jimmy would rush to the defense of Opie when a caller would say that and say, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You have no idea how much goes into Opie's side of things, blah, blah, blah. Anthony would always defend Opie. But when your back's against the wall, you got nowhere to run. Sometimes you pull out the big guns.
Doing this, I don't care. I could go do something else.
No, you couldn't.
I certainly
For this?
I could do something else tomorrow.
What?
Do another radio show, whatever.
Good.
Or sit out a year. I don't care.
Really?
Yes.
You're gonna spin
Really.
records again?
Oh, you're gonna make fun of me?
No, I'm not making fun of it.
Like I didn't-
making fun of me. At least I'm not saying you didn't fucking want to do the show.
Like I wasn't successful on my own. I'm only
Of course
successful
you
if I spin records.
Did I fucking say that? Or I'm saying
my whole problem with you is very simple. I don't hate you. I don't dislike you, but we're moving in extremely different directions, and it is going to be close to time to move on. That's all.
Well, they both, to Opie's credit, they both kind of have premonitions there. First of all, Opie saying, again, the delusion. Opie saying, oh, I've never had success without you. I can only spin records. Before Anthony, that's what he was doing.
Right.
He was on a nighttime radio show where they played music. He was a disc jockey. So I'm not calling that unsuccessful. In the 90s, that was a pretty good gig. Especially when you're young. He was in his 20s in radio, that's not bad.
Was he even
But
20?
to say you had success, if you're Opie and Anthony and you're talking about success, you can't compare what he did with Anthony to a nighttime music show.
Right. I think he was
on Long Island.
I think he was even 18 when he started or something like that.
I've heard that somewhere. I believe you're right. Yes, he was a teenager for sure. But to Opie's credit, they were growing apart. And like I said, Anthony never said I wanted to go do a political show. But I do think he was getting to a point where he wanted to talk about that stuff more than Opie did.
Right.
And they were growing apart. Opie's a family man. And I think, Anthony has alluded to this over the years. Well, I mean, not alluded to it. Anthony has straight up said Opie's wife's family does not like the show. They're a little more, liberal and they don't get like the offensive or cringe humor. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that they liked Opie's association with that show. And Opie picked up on that
as they're in their friggin' vacation house in the Hamptons. This show's terrible. Like,
yeah, right.
Shut up.
Yeah, Opie's got a house in the Hamptons because Jim Norton makes Uncle Paul jokes,
right?
But yet he hated them. He grew to resent them. But yeah, that is how they were growing apart. So in a way, they both had kind of correct assessments there. But I would say Anthony gets greater kudos because since Opie and Anthony has broke up, I follow the stock market from time to time. And I believe Opie's portfolio would have been a straight downwards red arrow since Opie and Jim.
And I will say this, though, about Cumia show, which I go in phases listening to it now.
Yeah.
I still think he's funny. It depends on the guest, too, for me. Like, I don't like the overly political shows. Opie and Jim were like his filters that he wouldn't go completely fucking nuts with the politics.
Sure, yeah. And, Anthony definitely has like his audience still, and I think does pretty well for himself and everything.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think if Anthony were around comedians, he has the best chemistry with Jim Norton.
Right.
But like, he'll go on. I've heard him on with like Legion of Skanks and shit like that. And when he's on with those guys, if he starts getting political, they'll bust his balls.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think I liked that Anthony better.
Or even still talking about the same topics, but make jokes as you do it.
Exactly. If you have Jim Norton there to be an offset, even I think Nick DiPaolo is a hilarious guy.
So,
but when it's Anthony and Nick DiPaolo, it's like what direction they're going to go in, and it makes for a less interesting conversation.
But I think it's still better than both of them by themselves because they will still bust each other's balls a little.
Sure. Yeah.
I think the solo thing's just tough. And Crowder, stealing Landau.
All right. So where are we going now? Is this the post O&A days?
This is Anthony on Rogan talking about him and Jimmy.
Okay. So just for a full setup here. Anthony got fired in 2014, if you're not aware, for, quote, racist tweets. Now, I will still defend him and say that a woman was beating him about the face in the streets of New York. And all Anthony did was tweet about it afterwards. But like in hindsight now, if you look, which isn't fair to do, by the way, I'm fully aware. But if you look at it now, like Anthony tweeting out like this fucking savage and all that shit, like in 2023, that would definitely get you fired.
See,
in 2014, it was still like, I don't think he's being that. It's definitely not something I would have tweeted.
I don't know if it was a white hooker, if the tweets are any different. I will say.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, right. But no, here's where his problem was. The one tweet where he says like something about that community jumping to violence, meaning black people.
Yeah, that's
where I think he fucked up overall. Like people would point to him using the word savage. I think it's because he was being hit by someone.
He's like the
I think
first.
That's why I used that word.
Yeah. He's like the first big like Twitter canceling that I can recall.
Yeah, and there was a summer of that. Actually, the last thing Opie and Anthony did was a bit they called the apology clock, where they wanted to see if they could go 1 week without there being a public apology in the news for something.
Yeah, so it was just it was just also that the timing was terrible and it was just really bad.
They never made it 1 day, I don't believe. Ringing that alarm.
No, and but I mean, if he survived those tweets, he's had several since that would have got him fired.
Yeah, that's my thing with Anthony, where like I still, like I said, there are words in my vocabulary that I've literally picked up from listening to him. But, like I loved listening to Opie and Anthony, and I like Anthony when he's on other shows. It's just the political stuff I'm not interested in. And Anthony gets so into it and passionate about it that it's just not for me, really.
Yeah.
And there's some shit on Twitter where I'm like, do you feel this way, or are you doubling down because you got shit for this in the past?
Plus, I don't really care for him with Gavin McInnes and Kevin Brennan. Like, those aren't just people I care to see him with.
Yeah, I mean, Gavin McInnes will probably do some sort of episode on the Patreon about it at some point, because I have mixed emotions about him overall, but
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan. Anyways, let's get to Anthony on Rogan talking about his relationship with Jim Norton, which also contributed to the downfall of his relationship with Opie.
I knew from the first. I think that also kind of, I'm not blaming Jimmy or anything, but I think that helped to kind of break up the O&A show in time. I think Opie started resenting a little bit of that camaraderie that me and Jimmy were having. Me and Jimmy kind of slowly started pulling away and doing our own thing. Like it was, and the humor is, the more twisted, the better. I love sick humor. He does too. And we laugh. We did a whole bit on like Lacey Peterson and Scott Peterson, the murder. Yeah. And you would think like, obviously he murdered his pregnant wife and dumped her in the ocean. What could possibly be funny about that? Well, people wrote tribute songs. This guy wrote a tribute song to her, and another one of these self-centered assholes that thought he was going to go viral by making a tribute song. And we started changing the words to the song to make it just horrible, involving seaweed and things like that. So it was terrible. But me and Jim are literally crying, laughing, and Opie's just kind of sitting there, like not really able to jump in or not kind of getting why we're laughing at this sick shit. So it kind of pushed us further apart. At that point, yeah. We both as people changed over the course of the 20 years we worked together.
And I think that's the reason a lot of people kind of, take Anthony's side over Opie's, because listening to that explanation is a lot more level-headed and realistic than Opie's version of things.
Well, also people prefer to laugh than be, miserable.
Yeah. But I mean, to Anthony's credit there, he kind of just says like, Opie didn't get the joke really, where it's like, if on the Blind Mike project, if we had someone on that doesn't give a fuck about stand-up and we're making fun of Brendan Schaub for 40 minutes, they're going to be like, what? I don't get what's going on here,
Right.
So yeah, it's like Opie was just kind of out of the loop and didn't really handle it well. So the big criticism that Opie got is when Anthony was fired, he did not fight for him. What the fans wanted was for Opie and Jim to quit, and they do the Opie and Anthony show in podcast form.
I wish.
Now, boy, with 9 years of hindsight, you could very easily say they would be making so much money if they had just done that.
So fucking much money. And they probably would, a lot of their shit where they would be like pissed off would be shit in the office, and they would be the ones in charge at that point.
Yeah. So, I'm based on the obvious hatred they have for each other. Maybe it wouldn't have worked out. They weren't communicating as business partners, if they're not talking off air, maybe it wouldn't have worked. My theory is that would have motivated the both of them to speak to each other and kind of work out their problems.
Well, plus it also wouldn't have been 4 hours.
Say again?
It wouldn't have been them for 4 hours every day either.
No, true. Yeah, I wonder if they would have done week. I do think a daily, maybe they would have done like 3 a week or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
it probably would have started as 5 and it would be like 2 right now.
If you look at it 9 years ago and say if Opie and Anthony started a podcast in 2014, I think it definitely would have been huge, because all the huge podcasts come from guys that they were, if you ever listen to, give it 3 episodes of Joe Rogan before he gives Opie and Anthony credit for the launch of his podcast.
Right.
But
Anthony specifically.
Anyways, why did I bring that up? Oh, because Opie didn't fight for Anthony really. And Jim took a lot of shit for this as well. But I think people look at it more like it was the Opie and Anthony show. Opie was the boss. It should have been Opie going to management. And Opie goes back and forth. He's like, people don't understand. I did give it my all and really fight for Anthony. But then out of the other side of his mouth, he goes, I gave it a whatever effort because I felt like we were done and everyone knew the show was done.
That's the problem right there. And I guarantee you, had he gone into the office and said, I'm not coming until Anthony's back, Anthony would have been back.
I think you're probably right. Or again, the show would have gotten fired and I think they would have started something together.
Right.
And who knows how well that would have worked, but I think it would have been very successful. So now we have what?
Chick stuff.
Oh yeah. So this goes back to, remember guys, about an hour ago when we mentioned the WNEW days. This is the real resentments they had. Oh, we'll get to some of the stuff with their relationships and that drama, but this is just things that bothered Opie, and this is Anthony talking to Rogan still.
We got in an argument once, and he goes, "Dude, you never even been to my house." And I go, "All right, get everyone from the show in here. Jim, have I ever been to the house? Nope. Travis, no. Sam, no. E-Rock, no. I've never been to anyone's house."
Let me tell you something right now.
Yeah.
That's something a chick would say.
I know.
So I think you kind of said it earlier, Craig. Opie wanted a best friend.
Right.
For whatever reason, there's a lot of people that work together and, don't go out for beers afterwards. That doesn't make them quit their job, Right. Like Opie hated that they weren't best pals, which is a little weird. But I think we start to get into some of the deeper reasons, right?
F.H. Riley's, yeah.
Yeah, so this is again, I would argue Anthony is probably in the wrong here.
I mean, yeah, but the reaction's not right either.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna, where if the beef were with a different person who handled it better, it would be a lot easier to be like, oh, Anthony's wrong.
Right.
But the handling of it is weird. So F.H. Riley's is a bar on Long Island that Opie's brother owned. I believe Opie owned a piece of it as well. Or I think Opie even might have been like the money.
Was his brother or his brother-in-law?
I think it was his brother.
Okay.
I think it was his actual brother.
I think you're right.
And so it's in the Hughes family. And Anthony goes in and says, hey, I'm Anthony from Opie and Anthony. And then this plays out.
You may remember an episode from F.H. Riley's. We were all hanging out. It was busy. I tweeted something to the effect of, holy shit, I can't get a seat. I'm waiting here for a beer. Like just kind of trashing the staff there. And it was, believe me, it was tongue in cheek. I'm not sitting there shitting on his restaurant. But, oh my God.
So pause one second. The only gripe I have with that is like, let's say, you have a restaurant, Craig, that you're running. Mm-hmm. Like, I think making fun of each other's podcasts or something is a little different. But like, if you had a legitimate business and I just out of nowhere start tweeting like, hey, I'm at Craig's restaurant and it fucking sucks.
Pretty sure they spit in my potatoes.
Yeah. People, I feel like you'd be like, hey, what the fuck is that, man?
Right.
Like that's not radio shit, especially because the guy running the restaurant isn't involved in the radio. He's not in on the joke.
And if you're gonna trash it, everyone else is gonna go 3,000 times harder.
Yeah, then you're rallying whether you're serious or not. Then people they're gonna leave funny reviews
right
on Yelp and shit.
Yep.
So that would annoy me if I were Opie. I'd say the way it was handled wasn't necessarily great.
Restaurant, but oh my God, did he fucking unload? He unloaded on me, decided he wasn't going to show up for work. 3 days, he just didn't show up for work. Didn't answer the boss's phone calls, didn't do anything. I was dragged into Scott Greenstein's office and told, you best fix this.
Like, that's just a childish way to handle it,
Yeah, like crossing his arms and yeah.
I'm leaving. Yeah, taking his ball and going home. So again, I think both do have blame in the relationship, but I just relate to Anthony's side more than I do Opie's, you know?
Not even close.
All right, what's next?
More on Anthony's girlfriend. This chick must suck.
This is what I thought I was setting up a minute ago. This is kind of the be like, we heard the clip with Ron Bennington where they're like, it was no big deal. Our you know, Aunt's ex and Opie's now ex were friends at the time, and then Anthony got divorced and it changed the relationship. But this is a little more about what went into that whole feud.
And, you know, I have a feeling what this is about way back in 99. You know, there was a girl around that.
Pause, I'm sorry.
You know.
I should have set this up a little better because this is after. So, you know, Opie was doing weird stuff on the radio where, like, Jimmy would do Anthony's show once Anthony got fired and started his own thing.
Yeah.
Jimmy would go do Anthony's show. He would call in. Chip would call in sometimes, shit like that. Opie never went on or anything. And then people started pressuring Opie, and Opie would say, like, you know, I'd rather get a beer with him first to talk about it. And Anthony's view was kind of like, no, if we have, let's do it on air. That's how we always did it. You know what I mean? We're not going to hash out a scheme first of how we're going to talk to each other. But if you have a problem, let's talk about it on air, because that's what Opie and Anthony fans would have wanted.
Right.
And Jim, by the way, pointed out, he goes, boy, it's very easy. Because at the end of their intro, they had, you know, kind of a typical for that time, big, well-produced, like, radio intro.
Mm-hmm.
And Stacy Keach did the voiceover. He's got a great voice. And I believe the intro ended with, above all else, real. And Jim pointed out later, we made it very easy for people to go, real, huh? I never heard you mention anything that you fucking hate each other. So I think that's why Anthony wanted to do it on air, because he's like, you know, we can't really be phony about it if we're going to do it. And so that bubbled up over the surface. And then one weekend, Opie and Anthony both started kind of tweeting shit. Opie more passive aggressively, and then Anthony really, you know, addressing it head on, and then getting into a big feud about it. So this is Opie. Anthony addressed it on Monday, and then Opie came in the following day to address it. So that's just a long way of setting this up.
I probably should have been nicer too. I know I apologized for that years later, and maybe it was too late. Try to explain what was going on back then, and the atmosphere, and why I was really frustrated that, you know, she was always around, and it made it harder and harder to try to work on the radio show. I know now I was wrong, and I did try to talk to him about that. I know I have apologized for that. But, you know, maybe he never got past that, you know, which is fine. I mean, I don't expect him to accept anything. I don't expect him to accept my apology.
I can't speak for Aunt, but that's humiliating shit. Like when someone's mean to your girlfriend,
right?
A lot. That's humiliating shit,
right?
That's really humiliating shit.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, but we were also trying to do a radio show, and she literally would just be in the studio the entire time, and we weren't talking anymore. And now I'm like, oh my God, now I'm competing on air just to talk to the guy to try to, you know, figure out what we were doing that day. And I was really frustrated by that. And I handled it wrong. You're absolutely right, Jimmy. You're absolutely right. I handled it wrong. And I did apologize to him. I hugged it out with her. There was a time I hugged it out with her too. You know.
So I don't quite understand. Sorry, was that not done?
10 seconds left.
Just play the rest of it.
That's 16 years ago. That was 16 fucking years ago.
Things that happen early on define the way things are going to go.
Jim Norton, by the way, like one of my favorite people in entertainment. You know, like their stand-ups. I like their stand-up more, maybe. But like, I just love Norton because I think he's a very rational guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what that show needed as well. And he would try. Now, what you hear there in Jim's voice, where he's kind of trying to defend Anthony, but there is a phrase that some brilliant people on Reddit came up with. Opie's real name, Gregg Opie Hughes, is the name of the Opester. And people would refer to dealing with Opie as walking on Gregg shells, which it became known as. And that's kind of what you hear in Jim's voice, where he's like, I don't want to piss Opie off, but I don't agree with him.
I took that as like almost like mocking him. Just like, you know, people say, just like that kind of voice.
But the voices they're doing, it's very weird, the tone that this episode was in. Especially if you know Opie and Anthony, like they would go after people relentlessly. You know, if someone shit on them on their show, the next day, Opie and Anthony would be fucking raging against these guys.
Well, where they're talking
this was done like a funeral.
Yeah, well, they're talking like that. If Anthony was there, he'd be making fun of them for talking like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's what,
it was handled in a very weird way. It's very ominous. And like E-Rock came in, and E-Rock and Jimmy would try to give Anthony's side, and Opie would go, no, I know, but never really understand what they were saying. But again, there's things like, I don't quite understand the context, because as a listener, I don't remember Anthony's girlfriend ever being in studio.
I don't either.
Like, I don't know what he's talking about there when he says I'm competing. Like, yeah, I think if if me and Craig were doing a show and Craig was always bringing someone around, I don't even think I would care, actually, if they were being quiet.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless they were disrupting the show, who gives a shit?
I don't think I would give a shit, but I could see a context where that would be annoying.
Right.
But I don't remember. That seems like the type of show that would address like, hey, Melissa's here today. And I don't remember that ever happening. So I don't quite know what Opie's talking about.
She could have been being quiet, but he could have been hearing her thumbs like texting on her phone or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Her breathing bothered him.
Like just any noise that's not normally there would bug me.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is
my favorite thing ever.
This is, you know what? I have a feeling we're all going to be able to relate to Anthony here. But you can sympathize with Opie's feeling. And this is, what a moment.
We get into...
Sorry. So this is actually a setup to the F.H. Riley's thing. The F.H. Riley's thing happened on the weekend, and Opie was furious. And then Anthony came in on that Monday morning, and this is what they're talking about.
We get into do the radio show Monday. I can't even look at him. My fault. Yes, I'm fucking seething inside. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go. Another radio show where we're fucking really pissed off at each other. So right before Ecstasy of Gold, my phone goes off. And, the text. A lot of times my wife will text me when she's up just to tell me that, she's up and the kids are cool. So I look down and the text says, the little cunt won't even look at me. I went, what? And I'm like, huh? What? Why is Aunt texting me that? What? Who's not looking at? Then I realized that the text was meant for somebody else and that he fucking sent it to me. I'm like, wow, okay. So I wasn't going to do a radio show that day. We had a huge blowout. Everyone fucking heard it. And I left and I went, and talked to Mel Karmazin. I said, I quit. And the guy would not let me fucking quit. He literally would not let me quit. And he calmed me down and says, look, I know you guys got issues and stuff, but you guys are good together. You got to, maybe you got to go in there, try to figure this shit out.
Shout out Mel Karmazin for keeping the Opie and Anthony show together. But it has come out years later. Anthony has confessed that text was meant for one Jim Norton.
Yes.
So put yourself in Opie's shoes here. The two guys you're doing a radio show with are sending texts like that to each other.
But you have to know you're being a fucking problem when it's at that point.
Yeah, but you're not in that moment. I can understand him.
I understand that, but you like if I'm annoyed with something or throwing a fit, I know I'm upset and being annoying probably.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
The little cunt won't even look at me.
So like, if I got a message like that, I'd be like, all right, you're probably right.
I'd start the show with it.
Right.
That's the weird thing about Opie and how Anthony was talking earlier. I don't think he quite got the show that he created.
Yeah.
Like he built that show, love him or hate him, and yet he didn't understand it or, drifted apart from what it was. So that's the weird thing. But yeah, it is tough to realize like, oh, these guys are talking shit about me. Now, the point that always gets brought up is E-Rock works for Anthony, who was a big part of the Opie and Anthony show. Jim Norton and I believe Travis Teft, both still friends with Anthony. Sam, I believe, is still friends with Anthony. Mm-hmm. Troy Kwan, I think, still friends with Anthony. Like everyone who was involved with that show is still friendly with Anthony.
Right.
E-Rock and Sam, who Opie was very close with, Opie is written off. Mm-hmm. Everyone who's been involved in the Opie and Anthony show has been written off by Opie. And now he'll make videos. Go on Opie Radio YouTube.
Ugh.
He makes videos now where he talks about how Jim Norton isn't talented. He does. You know what? To his credit, he never says that about Anthony. Nope. He calls Anthony a racist and all this sort of shit. Never says Anthony's not talented.
Neither does
he will say
Anthony doesn't
Jim's
either.
Not funny.
Yeah, Anthony doesn't either. He doesn't think he was necessarily funny, but he thought he was a great radio host.
Oh, so Anthony had one. So at Skankfest.
Oh God, never mind. I wasn't there.
One year when Anthony was there, it was Anthony and Ron Bennington doing a show together,
mm-hmm.
and it was the year Anthony was promoting his book. He had written a book.
The worst cover ever.
And they asked him. I think Ron asked him if he addresses Opie at all. And he goes, oh, absolutely. He goes, in the, what do you call it? Not the foreword. This is how illiterate I am.
Prologue?
The beginning of the book. Dedications, maybe. He says thank you to Gregg Opie Hughes. Without him, I wouldn't have a career. He's given me this, and this. And he goes, and I would tell Opie, if I were talking to him, to read that and then close the book. Because after that is not particularly nice. But Anthony has always said, so they are respectful of each other in that way. They know, that they made each other. They made each other millionaires,
Right. And I don't think Opie likes Sam just literally because now he's doing a show with Jimmy. Like that's literally it.
Yeah, Opie will call Sam a backstabber. And it's like, if you're Sam Roberts, you're in your 30s, you have a wife and kids, you have the opportunity to do a radio show with Jim Norton. You're supposed to go, no, because Opie used to work here.
But keep in mind, too, he had a show on from like 10 to midnight or something already. So it's not like he wasn't doing something already. They just moved him.
Right. Yeah, he had a show. I mean, I'm sure it didn't pay nearly as well. No. But yeah, I mean, I don't understand. But Opie creates these things where these people are his enemies. Right. He creates a world where they hate him, so he hates them.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, the people didn't start off hating him,
Right. Right.
All right. What else do we have?
This is another weird one. It's kind of long, but of Opie choking up.
I forgot about this. Yeah. It is long and there's a lot of pauses, so I apologize. But I do think it's an interesting listen, so just bear with it, because it goes to Craig's earlier point that Opie misses his friend.
Years ago. If it wasn't good enough, that's fine. And I understand that. Okay, I do understand that. But when me and Anthony started doing radio, we couldn't get enough of each other. After radio shows, we would call each other. And
acting.
I don't think so.
Creepy starts throwing up.
And we would, talk about the show for hours.
By the way, this is where in the old days you might get a Dyson impression thrown in here.
Yeah. Shit, this is 2 minutes long.
It's all silence. I just thought it was interesting.
It is.
The fact is, I did, love doing the show with them. And when that, relationship changed in 99, I never got over it.
Clearly.
I don't think I've heard that in 9 years. I think I was wrong about his acting.
No, I don't think he's acting.
And I don't think so either.
No, definitely not. And you know what? To his credit, it's a weird clip where it's like, this is not how men argue, really. But to Opie's credit, and this is again what his skill set was. The clip goes on for a little while longer. I knew there would only be so much you guys could bear of it, but it goes on. He, continues kind of crying through his words, and then he pauses again, and he hits the laugh track.
That's pretty funny.
So he did. That's again what he was good at, like knowing those kind of cringy moments and how to play to them. But no, I definitely don't think he's faking. I think that's a moment where Opie's an emotional guy and looked at it like when they were at WAF, he looked at it like, we're going to be best buddies and we're going to rule radio together, man. And then that didn't happen. And I think he got very sad about it that they grew apart.
When they started doing the radio show, he had like visions of them retired in the same town, sitting on a farmer's porch on rocking chairs together, just drinking coffee.
Well, Anthony would always tell the story of because he was in construction, going to meeting Opie and doing the show a couple times, and he's like, in my mind, if you worked in radio, you were a millionaire.
Right.
And he goes, so me and Opie were hanging out and he brings me to some like shithole apartment. And Anthony was like, this must be where he comes on the weekends just to crash. He assumed he had a mansion. All right. So now are we at the Esther Koo business?
This is great.
So this is a lot of people credit Esther Koo here. A lot of people say she knew exactly what she was doing. I don't think she did, really.
I don't think so at all.
It seems pretty innocent.
I agree.
So Esther Koo's I don't know where she's been, by the way. I haven't seen much from her lately.
She is a woman.
The short lifespan in comedy, I guess.
That's true.
But she faded away. I'm not sure, but she had done Anthony's show, and then she went into Opie and Jim. And again, by the way, this is months and months later.
Yeah.
And it's still got that same funeral tone to it for some reason. Opie and Jim was very weird days, very dark times.
Opie he pretends he doesn't, but he takes immediate offense to this.
By the way, this is building to something that a lot of people have suggested this episode, and they've also suggested the breakup of Opie and Jimmy, which I think probably deserves its own separate episode.
Yeah, this is Godfather 1.
Yeah, so this is the setup to that. So there will be more clips from this interview. I just took the ones that I thought were applicable directly to Anthony.
Yeah, we were just touching the surface yesterday. So why was religion evil in your house?
Oh, by the way, I went to see your friend Anthony yesterday.
That's all right.
Oh my God, that was so much fun.
Hold on.
Okay.
Now, Craig referenced Mike Harris the other day, or earlier in the show. If I said, hey, by the way, I saw Mike Harris, you wouldn't go, that's fine.
That's cool, man. That's okay.
No, don't worry about it.
Easy.
Like, oh, no, I wasn't worried. I was just telling you something.
Like I said, immediate offense when he pretends like he's not.
That's all right.
That's all right.
Yeah, we were just touching the surface yesterday. So why was religion evil in your house?
Oh, by the way, I went to see your friend Anthony yesterday.
That's all right.
Oh my God, that was so much fun.
Okay.
Can I say that?
Of course.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So
It would
I'm
help you
trying to keep pausing. But like, he's like, why the fuck would you tell Opie that you just saw Anthony? I can't imagine a reason.
Yeah, if they were playing word association game, you hear Opie, someone would just go, Anthony. Like, that's just how it goes.
It's like if Robin Quivers was out one day and you're like, hey, I saw Robin at an event the other night. And Howard was like, what are you telling me for? It's like, I don't know. You're pretty closely associated to each other.
I wish Esther Koo immediately went into a story about how much he hated Anthony just to see his mood change.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now it's fine.
Oh, now I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say that?
Of course.
Okay.
It would help you'd say that.
Oh, okay, good. No, it helps because,
He's a delightful man.
well, first of all, it's just later in the day.
Right.
Which helps because I just have more energy later.
You were fine on our show.
You know?
All right.
Was it just you two, or
Yeah,
did you
but-
have other people there?
It was us two and then Ralph Sutton.
What did you talk about?
Pause 1 second because Jimmy's about to get into something. They're referring to the Patrice O'Neill benefit, which, by the way, Shane Gillis and Jim Norton will be performing at this year. I think it's in April.
Interesting.
But Bill Burr puts on an event every year for, in memory of Patrice O'Neill. And Opie and Anthony used to host that event. And as you can probably guess, they do no longer. So that's the benefit Jim's about to reference.
Why wouldn't it be fine?
Huh?
Why wouldn't it be fine?
No. Of course it would be fine. It was great.
No, you were asking me. Why wouldn't it be fine?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry.
Oh.
Probably your reaction. I thought you reacted.
How did I react? I didn't even react.
No, you didn't react.
We talked about it yesterday. I said, it was fine. We don't talk, but I don't care if people do his show.
Right.
So, anyway,
Are you guys going to talk at the benefit?
No, not at all. He's done some really shitty things. No, now I'm pissed. No,
There it is. Now I'm pissed.
It goes really deep. The stuff I've found out recently. No, I'm not talking to him, and I won't be in the same room as him. No.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
Now I'm pissed. Jimmy asked one question.
Esther.
No, it's fine. All right, now I'm pissed.
Yeah, I like how it's like Esther Koo just clearly pissed him off. Jim Norton breathes in the corner of the room. He's like, now I'm upset.
Well, poor Esther Koo, and this is why I don't think she knew what she was doing. Because she's like, oh, can I say that? And he's like, why wouldn't you? And she's like, oh, no, I don't know. She's so confused by the reaction she's getting.
She realizes that he's lying. He's lying, as Bobo would say.
So, Opie's like, no, I absolutely won't talk about him at the benefit. Now, what Opie is referring to, I believe, is someone told Opie that Anthony had like burner accounts.
Yeah.
That he tweeted shitty things about Opie from.
Right.
Anthony has responded to that and said, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Because he'll do it from his own account.
Yeah, right. He would do it from his own account, his own show. So I do believe that. But the other reason I believe it is Opie has said, someone told me. He's like, I don't have to look into it. I trust this person.
That's a mistake.
Right. People lie, Opie, Maybe look into it a little deeper.
I was an electrician, and if someone told you something was dead before you cut it, you never trust them. You check yourself.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
I was a tin knocker too, Wow,
what a relation. Two comedic geniuses.
Two titans of the business.
Yes. Do a Dice impression.
We have the same boss at one point. That's pretty, similar. Right?
That's the next clip.
Yeah. This is the lead into the next to Godfather 2.
Yeah, so this is where Opie and Jim's. By the way, Opie and Jim had gotten into it a couple times over the year, but before this, I don't think anyone knew Opie and Jim hated each other. But this clip exposed that.
Yeah, sure did.
But he made it very obvious that it was time to move on. Extremely obvious.
I'm
and
sorry.
things I wondered about, and now I know as true. So no.
How do you know they're true? I'm not saying they're not. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm leaving you out of it. Simple as that.
Cunt.
And I'll never talk to you about it.
You'll never tell me?
No. 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 You know. No. Yeah. See. No. Getting a lot of people shaking their heads. No.
Why won't you tell me?
Pause a second.
I don't want
I
it.
always wondered what he was talking about there.
I think he was talking
I'm
about
getting a lot of people shaking their heads. Does that mean like Sam Roberts is in the corner going, no?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. I think Opie makes everything up, as we found out.
Sorry, just bring it back a little bit, just 'cause I want to hear Jim's reaction to that.
No. No. You know. No. Yeah. See. No. Getting a lot of people shaking their heads. No.
Why won't you tell me?
I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't feel like we're that close in that way. No, I'm not telling you.
Okay.
Anyway, hi Esther.
Hi, sorry I brought that up.
What?
That's not your fault. We're not that close. That's not your fault.
Oh shit! I've laughed over that one part.
No, Esther did make me laugh there.
Anyway, hi Esther.
Hi, sorry I brought that up.
What?
That's not your fault that we're not that close. That's not your fault.
So we mentioned like Anthony is non-confrontational and has the ability to have bottled that up and sat on it for 20 years if he wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
He could bury it deep down inside and not address it. Jim Norton had the ability to bury it deep down and not address it for about 9 seconds. Well, Jimmy will address that shit.
Oh yeah,
and that's why there were a couple doozies in the Opie and Anthony or the Opie and Jim days.
Yeah,
that we'll get into in another episode.
Anthony actually recently put out a video. Someone posted a video of I think it was Knoxville joining the Opie and Jim show. I don't know if you saw it. And you could see that Jimmy was pissed off and that wasn't talking back.
Oh, yes, I have seen that. Yeah.
And Anthony broke it down and was like, here is where I would say this to break the tension.
That's great. It's like having John Madden in there.
Exactly.
He's circling his chair where he would have been sitting.
Yeah.
You know what? If I get enough response, reach out on Twitter or Patreon. Let me know if you want. blindmike.net is where you can find those things. If you want the Opie and Jim episode, maybe we'll do that as a bonus in February.
Yeah, nice.
Not a bad idea. But yeah, let me know your thoughts because we'll get more into that relationship. But what else do we have with Opie and Anthony?
This is the last clip. This is the reunion.
Oh, so this is, by the way, this is not where it ends.
No. This is
not even close, but
if this was the Bible, this would be where the Old Testament ends.
Sure. Craig's got a lot of great analogies here.
bringing them heavy today.
But I wanted to close with this clip just because I found this moment, not particularly the moment we're going to play, but the entire interaction.
It's a 30-minute video on YouTube. Go find it. It's awesome.
Yeah, the whole 30-minute interaction between these two. So Rich Voss, Opie started his afternoon show. Opie and Jim split up, and Opie was put in afternoons, like by himself, but he would always have a bunch of comedians. I believe this was his first episode, and he had Rich Voss on, old friend of Opie and Anthony. Oddly enough, that day, Anthony had Paul Mercurio on his show. If you remember the Sex for Sam episode, Paul Mercurio is the guy who got arrested during that event.
Mm-hmm.
So just coincidentally, those two guys happen to be in studio. And Anthony decided to call in to Opie's show. Now, the reason I wanted to end with this clip is because I find it to be the most bizarre interaction in radio history. And I'll tell you why when we're done playing the clip.
Yeah. Okay. Let me pull it up.
Is this the Opie show?
For the first time in how long? 2 years, 3 months. It's Anthony Cumia.
Gregg, Opie Hughes, ladies and gentlemen, on my fucking show. Wow. This is crazy.
I don't think I should be here right now.
Is that really Anthony? Wait, who are you on with?
Mercurial of all.
Oh, God.
Hang on, there's somebody fucking in here. I'm gonna.
Do I have the point?
Yeah, I'm gonna have him run to give someone a blowjob in a synagogue.
You can't be that desperate that you would have Paul Mercurio on.
No, it's
Here we
fucking.
go, Mr. Afternoon. Oh my God.
How bad did it get that you have Paul Mercurio?
It's Monday.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well,
What's going on?
To put it simply, Paul Mercurio came in right after Jeff Norris left.
They speak like this whole episode never happened.
That's kind of the tone of it is the spookiest incident, I believe, in radio history.
It's so inside baseball. It's like showing you how
so I listened to it. I happened to be listening to it live just because I wanted to check it out. Opie's first show, what he did in the afternoons, and I figured he would address this shit going on with Jim. So I listened to it, and Anthony's on for a half hour. They get into their stuff a little bit, but very mildly. Very, very mildly, as if they didn't have this huge beef. So there's a whole other side where we could break down kind of the hypocrisy of that. But my takeaway was the chemistry between these two. Like, we had never seen it in that order before. You know what I mean? Like, we only saw the side where they got along on air, really, other than a couple incidents. But this is after 2 years of them bashing the shit out of each other. And then we're able to slide in and for a half hour do like great radio together again.
It's almost like they're good at it.
It was really weird, but it's not even just like they're good at it because neither of them have that with another person. You know what I mean? Like there's no one that goes on Anthony's show to that level other than Carl, when Carl goes on.
Yeah, Carl's
like
great.
A young Opie and Anthony.
Right.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like they do have something there.
Well, because
like there's something to that relationship. That it wasn't just one or the other. It was their relationship that really drove the Opie and Anthony show.
Well, yeah, but also Opie hasn't had anyone host that's as funny as Anthony, and Anthony hasn't had anyone that's gonna host. He'll have like fucking Artie Lang on, who doesn't let anyone speak.
Right. So their careers have been weird. Now, but since the audio we just played, they have gone back to ripping the shit out of each other.
They're actually worse than ever, actually.
And now it's actually, I think at first Anthony would take a lot of the shots. Now it's Opie going out of his, every 2 weeks or so, he makes a video going, fine, you know what? You're going to ask me about the Opie and Anthony days. I'll address it one last time. And then 2 weeks later, he makes the same video. But, go on Opie's YouTube channel. There's a million videos entitled like, what's wrong with Anthony Cumia?
Right.
It's just all Opie bashing Anthony. So it's very weird. It's, sad to see. But at this point, there was a long time where Opie and Anthony fans would say, I just really hope they get back together. I think at this point, everyone's kind of accepted that's never going to happen.
I think it's going to happen more than ever now.
You do?
Yeah, I don't know when. It could be like 5 years from now, but
I don't think there's any chance.
Opie's going to hit rock bottom and go, I need to relive the glory days.
Well, I don't think there's any chance Jim Norton's a part of it. That much I would.
That might be.
I'd be very shocked.
That might be Anthony's terms. Jimmy has to come.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is I don't think Jim would do it. I think Jim hates Opie that much now, which we'll get into on the Patreon.
Yeah, I think there's actual. I don't know if there's actual hate with Opie. I mean, I know there is, but it's more like
they disliked each other. Two guys that didn't like working together. Where I think Jimmy kind of hates Opie.
Yes, there's more hurt feelings with Opie versus Anthony, and there's genuine hatred with Opie and Jimmy.
So we'll definitely do the Opie and Jim episode at some point. But if you guys express enough interest, we'll do it in February. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
And you know where you could express these thoughts, folks? That'd be blindmike.net, if you'd be so kind.
Wow.
Go there. There's links to the Patreon, like I said, where you get all our bonus content, as well as Hughes Days, where we watch Quincy. It's funny. Someone messaged me and was like, "Do you think it's worth all the effort to do Quincy. And I was like, oh, we literally watched the episode and then end. There is zero effort put into the Quincy episodes.
Yesterday or next week's whatever the timeline is. Yesterday we did one that was definitely worth watching every single one we've done.
Oh yeah. Go watch the last Quincy of January, I believe.
Yeah.
That one will probably the best one we've done.
The one that comes out on the 31st.
But yeah, you get more importantly, you get the Why You Laughing bonus episodes. And you can find our merch link on blindmike.net as well. If you want to, support the boys with a few bucks, we appreciate it. But hey, we know times are lean. We're in a recession. So if you say, what's a free way I can support the show? Well, it's very simple. Same place, blindmike.net, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all the links for the shows are there. Leave a 5-star review. Subscribe on YouTube. By the way, another reason to join the Patreon is I don't think it'll happen in this episode, but there are often episodes where we play clips from like Netflix or Comedy Central, people that are real cunts about content.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we have to edit those videos out. So it's another reason to hit up the Patreon if you've noticed that. And verygoodshow.org, by the way.
Yeah, go there.
We mentioned Mike Harris enough times. You guys must be intrigued. Yeah. Who is this mystery man? Yeah. And we just talked about two of the greatest in shock jock radio for the last couple hours.
Right.
I mean, if you want to see the next up-and-comers of edgelords and shock jocks, make sure you go to verygoodshow.org.
Yeah, if you're looking
they reign supreme.
Yeah, if you're looking for another Patreon you want to support, that's a great place to go.
Yeah, if you haven't had enough, check out all that stuff if you wouldn't mind. We appreciate all the support, guys. Heard a lot of nice response on Why You Laughing the last couple months, which has been nice. Tell a friend, for God's sake. If you know someone that's into comedy, spread the word. And we will talk to you guys next time on Why Are You Laughing?